Waiting.
I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Jules Sains. That is my buddy Patrick McCray. That is my buddy Alan Gallant. We are here to review Hap and Leonard Season 3, Episode 5.
Oh, viewers, can you hear the majesty?
The majesty
Say
of
something
the
more, Jules.
microphone.
He's got a new mic, and it's great. I'm very excited.
I really. What did you guys think of the end? There's so much to get to. I know the ending was really exciting, but the build up to this whole episode 5 thing has been really, really good. I think, though this is the final season of Hap and Leonard, I think they did a really great job with this season. Again, because they were adding a lot more supernatural elements here, but they also. They don't go completely, in my opinion, they don't go completely off the rails with it.
Not at all.
No. It's all in the side vision kind of stuff for the most part. And then our friend Belinda, who keeps showing up throughout the season. So.
Yeah. What do you guys make of Belinda?
She's traumatized, and there's something else going on, but I don't know that we're ever going to know what it is, except she's traumatized. She wants to help, I think, but she's like, she can't speak. She has difficulty participating.
Yes.
Because, she was raped. So, that was part of it. I mean, it made it worse. I think she was already there before that, but it made it way worse. The thing, two things happen in this episode. We've got our friend, the cook / veterinary artist / MD, whatever he happens to be.
We still don't know enough.
We don't know a lot about him, but we know that he's on their side.
We know he's on their side, but there's more to his story.
Yes. Yeah. It's the reason. Yeah. The reason he's there and all of that stuff is there's more expansion on that. But that's one of the things that we find out for sure, that he's reluctant to do anything, but he also has a moral center that makes him want to help these guys.
The size of the Liberty Bell.
Yeah,
absolutely. And the other thing is, we find out just how much Hap loves Leonard.
Oh boy, we sure do.
Yeah,
we sure do. The moment that got me was when the cavalry arrives, and he won't let them near Leonard.
No, he's just like, he
doesn't trust even them.
No, he's. It takes him a minute to figure it out. That it's okay.
Did they get Emmy nominations for this?
I have no idea. I doubt it, because of the small network that it was on. The small cable network.
If that's the case, that is really bad. I
mean,
normally I don't think an emotionally extreme or histrionic performance is really the measure of an actor.
Yeah,
because generally it's kind of easy to pull off. They color in the extremes, but to color well in the extremes.
Yeah, to balance it and make it make sense, and make it realistic, and something that's immediate to your audience, that's affecting.
I mean, they didn't shoot this in sequence. Probably thank God for the actors, but maybe not. Just imagine if they had, though. I mean, the range that the two leads.
Yeah, I suspect they did not shoot it in sequence. I suspect they had special days for some of these.
Oh yeah.
And some maybe more than one day.
It's funny because the big fight sequence I didn't think would go well. I thought, this is too Stephen J. Cannell. It's my foot smells like ass, or whatever it is. Well,
your foot up my ass really smells like ass, because they basically got theirs kicked.
Hang on.
Yep.
No, I'm good.
It was nominated for a GLAAD award in 2017.
Okay, that's because of the portrayal of a gay character in it.
Yeah.
What was this? Who?
It was nominated for a GLAAD award.
Oh, okay. All right.
No. But that's all. As far as I could tell, that's all I could
all.
find.
Yeah. It got the usual short shrift because it was done on the down low on a minor network, and didn't have the, God forbid I say this, but the Weinstein touch. Somebody that would promote it in the way that his company promoted his material. Because that's one thing he didn't know how to do besides be rapey with women, Did
he get his mitts into television?
I don't know. Probably not directly. Probably through some production companies. I would not be surprised if he did, but mostly film. But I was just referring to that as like that's big money basically to promote films. He could have done it with series if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, this is worthy of the General Miramax level of quality.
It is. It's
that's the thing. But the oatmeal's good. Yeah. That's the darn thing about that.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't worth it.
God.
There's a third thing that's in this episode too. As I'm looking at my notes here, Sneed is also a convert.
What an arc he has!
Yes, it's great. A really, really fun arc for the actor for sure. I'm sure he enjoyed.
I love the monologue he gives about his reasoning for being an asshole.
Right.
Because he realizes it's not justification, and it's all he has. And I think he suddenly is realizing that's all he has, and it's not enough.
And he also realizes he's not a professional at it either. These people around him are absolute ghost skin a-holes.
Oh yeah.
They are pros. And he's just sort of and that's part of the reason why I think he turns, his worm turns too, is he's looking at these people around him that are absolutely unconscionably evil. And he's just a sort of run of the mill.
Well, it's easy to surround yourself. I think probably a lot of Trump people are learning this right now. It's easy to surround yourself with people who chant something that makes you feel good until you realize how seriously they take it, and that they take it to places beyond the voting
you never got,
and beyond a picket sign and a red hat.
Right.
And that's the horrifying thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, segregation and Jim Crow and all of that is a cult. Was a cult at least in the terms of culture. Very ingrained, generationally ingrained, unquestionably ingrained in people's zeitgeist from the Civil War on. It wasn't going to miraculously go away, just because laws were enacted. It did not miraculously go away. It took 100+ years for sturdy enough laws, and of course, in the last 15 years, they've been trying to dismantle those laws as hard as they can. They, meaning certain people, not everybody.
It's interesting because when you look at institutionalized racism, and we think of it as, okay, well, no, the things are not balanced. If my great grandfather was a slave and your great grandfather was a slave owner, then the bundles we have inherited over the years are not equal. Even the opportunities, our vision of opportunities are not equal.
Right, and the experience you can't speak to the experience without explanation,
And at the same time, moral institutionalized racism.
Sure,
is the thing,
religion, organized religion institutionalized it for hundreds of years. They did the whole Sons of Ram thing to justify the fact, and plus there's a lot of references to slavery in the Old Testament particularly, but so they had
Sons
a lot of material to justify it by.
What's Sons of Ram?
Yeah, the Sons of Ram.
What is Sons of Ram?
Well, some people have interpreted this tribe as being dark-skinned, and they they were cast out because, yada yada. I don't even know the full story, but I know the reference. So they used that. That's part of what we had a redneck Pentecostal minister up in northern Maine that was totally like that.
But they really get around, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't, we're gonna string you up, he wasn't like that, but he was institutionally racist because of where he went to divinity school.
Unbelievable.
But I mean, and this show is certainly, I mean, that is the fabric that has the the warp and weave of which holds this whole drama together. It's there all the time. And the fantastic thing is the relationship between these two men just spits in its face over and over and over again. It's an inspiring type of thing on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
Certainly on a personal level, for them, for their characters, and for us to watch it unfold this way. Nothing will break the glue of their friendship. They bitch and carp at each other a lot,
Of course,
but nothing will break that glue. And this episode is the underscoring illustration of that. I think it's they're there on the edge of death.
Yeah.
In this particular case, and we see it. I mean, it's not just getting chased around and run off the road kind of shit, or shot at but not killed. These guys,
they lived.
These guys are going to beat them to death. They're going to beat them to death right there.
They really were, and they I was about to say I was amazed they lived, but they were still in the teaching them a lesson process.
Yeah.
When the cavalry shows up.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't mind a Deus Ex Machina because it has to happen.
Yes.
Or else no more story.
Right. There's no more story, and they need to come to the edge of that in order for you to understand their relationship fully. In this case, and also to understand that there are people in this town that are ready to back them. That they're tired of this living in the Jim Crow South that was supposedly dead decades ago. They're tired of it.
We haven't seen enough of that fifth column yet.
No.
I mean, there's a diner.
Yeah. There's a couple of those Klan boys that they're just spoiling to get karma. They're the guys that jump out of the truck with the automatic weapons every time they're called. It's like, you jackasses. They're just total, ignoroids, as my brother would call them.
They truly are.
Yeah,
they truly are, and they have the guns.
Yes, and they have the guns, and they have the power in the town because of the one guy that has, a functioning brain that can plot and plan to successfully keep power.
Yeah, the thing that occurs to me is that when Florida had disappeared, if the sheriff had just called the FBI, I don't know if any of this story would be going on, or if the other cop, the black cop, the one who sends Hap or sends Hap on the job, if he just called the fucking FBI, none of this would be happening.
I know. Instead, he goes down there, gets in a car wreck, and they think he's dead, at least for a little brief period of time. Obviously, the tone is somber in terms of this search too. At this point, they definitely think she's dead. It looks really bad, and so it's about the quest to make it make sense and make those people who are responsible pay. Out them, get them to pay. The sheriff, oh man,
I know.
Just turns around and says, "Okay, I'm not going to stonewall you anymore."
No.
And Reynolds kills him. Takes his badge. I mean, that's nothing lower. She kills him and takes his badge.
Alan, I think you elide episodes
Hmm?
Sometimes
No,
I think that's
I think it's
episode
at the end of
6.
this one. I'm pretty sure it's at the end of
No,
this one.
she just shoots him.
Right, she shoots him.
Because
Right.
that's the
Oh, I
reveal.
see what you're saying. The act
Yeah,
actor.
because
Yeah.
last episode I thought
Yeah.
it was going crazy because you're talking about the two people they ran into at the beginning, running into them again on the road with the bottles.
Yes.
That's in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right, because they're that's what you get for watching ahead. Sorry.
I thought I was having
because
major
that's right, because they were
narcolepsy.
in the pucker brush at the end of the previous episode. They hadn't made it out yet.
I thought I was having crazy narcolepsy moments.
yes.
Like, I missed
No,
that.
it's me. I'm just welding it all together into one giant story. It's,
Well, because
which
in the
is easy
novel,
to do when
it's
you
how it
watch it
was.
all. Yeah. Yeah.
You also
we get 1 or 2 flashbacks to Florida in this episode too, which reveal something about the connection to Hap. So that's interesting.
Well, they're I don't know if they're flashbacks or they're just fantasias that he's having.
Yeah, dreams.
He was
dreams. Yeah,
But I think
they're kind of
reflective
dreams.
of real moments.
I mean, yes. I mean, he's flashing back to another time, but it's dreams. Yeah, it is dreams. One of them, he wakes up totally disoriented from. I remember that. But yeah.
Yeah, at times with this, especially with this season, it feels like the writers are almost challenging Hap to fight what's in his mind versus reality. And they do a really good job of pulling him back to the reality.
Mm-hmm. Also, we're pushing Hap and Leonard both past the point of no return in terms of, are we going to do this anyway, even though the odds are way against us surviving this mess? The level of anxiety, the level of anger, the level of all of this sort of things, pushing the mystery further and further and further down the hill. And so, there's going to have to be some kind of a, come to Jesus in the last episode. I mean, I'm sure they wanted to shoot a 4th season, but that never happened. But all of the seasons have a closure of sorts. So
They were
I'm
talking
looking
about
forward to
getting
that.
the guy who played Rerun to play
What's
Leonard.
that?
They were talking about getting the guy who played Rerun to play Leonard.
Oh my God. Rerun.
Can you imagine? The hat.
The hat, that's right.
Here we go. Were you a big What's Happening fan?
I watched it a few times. I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of it.
Every episode.
In terms of that kind of situation comedy, it was mostly the Jeffersons and Good Times, because I was a teen. I was a preteen and a teenager when those came out.
Well, and they had more seasons, so they had a more robust syndication like.
Absolutely, and the characters, had more development. The main characters and all of that sort of thing. In as much as a sitcom can develop characters, which some can obviously do that. Some don't want to, and they're still fun to watch. I mean, like say, Friends, I never felt like the characters really developed that much, but they put them in fun situations.
On that show?
Yeah.
I got too much loyalty to Larry David. I couldn't bring myself to watch it.
Yeah, I understand. And it's like they're practically 40 years old at the end of the show, and they're still living in, or most of them are still living in an apartment together. A couple of them have moved out, but they're up there all the time. So there's not a lot of real character arc, a little bit here and there, but most of it's just all about the fun situations they throw people. Now, if you put that up against, say, an All in the Family, where the characters definitely have a tremendous arc, especially Archie and Edith, but so did some of the other ancillary characters. And that's Lear. I mean, Lear doesn't like to leave things alone that way. He never did.
Now, speaking of the Jeffersons, close your eyes for a moment.
Okay.
George Jefferson, you be nice to Tom and Helen. It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Weezer.
Oh my god.
Strut around with his little tummy
3-piece suit. Yeah.
in his 3-piece suit. Yeah. Yeah. That was a lot of fun to watch too.
Oh my gosh.
But
What's
this,
you guys?
yeah.
What's you
Go
guys'
ahead.
favorite scene in this episode?
Oh my
God.
Well, the whole thing leading up to the beating and all of that
yeah,
stuff.
the diner fight.
The diner
is
stuff,
marvelous.
and then it goes out into the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then the culmination of that, the ending of that, when the, as you say, the cavalry arrives and Hap is completely beside himself. So he thinks his friend is going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what happens when you come to a town that it's living backwards.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Believes their town is haunted.
uh-huh. Well, the frog would lead you to believe something's going on because the frog keeps showing up.
Well, I didn't see the frog.
That's the mojo in this one, is that freaking frog keeps hanging out.
Even the frog stayed away.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he hopped away when it came
as a metaphor. Because I don't remember this season very much at all. I watched it when it first on. I remember almost none of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really hoping that they circle back mythologically to how the season began. So there's a little bit of closure to that because, they begin the thesis with this story and this vision. And,
it's true. Yeah, they began the season again with a lynching, right?
The lynching, the devil, the urine,
devil,
all that stuff.
I mean, in a sense, they're setting up a ghost story.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely, and our friend Belinda is connected to it all somehow.
Because even though she can't speak, or maybe can't speak,
she may just not want to because she's given up on it. Because
that's
she's
clearly her voice at the beginning of.
Yeah, you get the narration and stuff. Yeah,
that's got to be her.
Yeah, it is. I'm 100% sure that's her. Absolutely. Maybe she comes out of it later after all this is over. And tells the story, and she's telling the story.
Yeah, I feel sorry for is the casting director who is having to. It's like the casting director of the Tony Collette movie about the dollhouses and the.
Oh God.
You know that one?
Yes. I can't think of the title of it right now.
The A24 movie, with that.
Mm-hmm.
Casting that girl. And what do you put out as the casting director? We want to find the most unusual looking.
And it's also
that's got to be a real delicate.
It has to be, and it has to be also a huge responsibility for the director and the crew and everybody else to take care of that child.
That's right.
Because that's a weird situation for even an experienced child actor to be in. That's something that would give a kid nightmares, especially if they let them see the dailies.
I mean, Abe Vigoda is kind of used to it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He knows he's being cast partly because he has such a weird look,
and he's also like 50. Well, he became famous and in demand in his late 40s, and then up through. So yeah. I mean, he looked 60 when he was 48. So
I mean, that was Godfather. Was his first.
That was a big one.
movie.
Yeah, that was a huge one. Yeah, and I think he was something like he was in his late 40s, and he looks so much older. He looks like 65 or 70 or something.
Yeah. Really, really good episode.
Great.
The
Great stuff.
The choreography was really well done. Again, the fact that I do agree with you, Patrick. I do hope in the next episode we sort of get a flashback of how this all started.
That's something to justify starting it like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to bring it full circle as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to cohere the whole thing.
I feel again, I haven't seen the next episode, but it feels like with this season, the one thing we're missing is a seance. It in a weird way.
Sure. Every show, though. I feel
That would
about
be
every
all right.
show.
That would have been good during one of the previous Mojos.
Yeah.
When the old dude was like shaking the chicken legs
Yeah.
and everything. That
But
would have
not
been
now.
perfect time for a
Not now.
seance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the weird part because again, this starts off like a ghost story, and it feels like because my one question was, okay, is the town just honestly trying to keep this thing from spreading, or is this okay? I get there's racism involved here, but are they
Yeah.
just trying to keep this thing from spreading? It's like maybe not, but it's like that's what I mean. I'm with Patrick. I want a flashback of how this all started.
Yeah. Well, it's like, the town was suspended because it was cursed for killing,
Yeah.
this Robert Johnson character to begin with.
Yeah.
And then they came back and they did it again.
Yep.
They did it again.
He made a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
That's the basis for the entirety of Hunt Showdown.
Yeah.
What? What? A Hunt Showdown?
Hunt Show. Well,
What
basically,
is that?
Hunt Showdown is an extraction shooter that I play where you go against
Oh.
zombies, evil.
Are you a dentist?
No, evil
What's extraction?
zombies, big monsters.
You're a zombie? You're a dentist for zombies?
No.
It's to
You
eat
go
teeth.
against zombies. You go against evil monsters,
So
wild
you eat their
dogs,
teeth. Okay.
meatheads, stuff like that.
Well, with all that Novocaine, I mean, you're not going to be able to do it very well.
Okay.
Hope those meatheads are
Do you get extra
delicious.
points if you say you'll feel a slight pressure?
There's leeches on the meatheads.
Yeah. So they think the meatheads are delicious. At least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leech on a meathead
Yeah.
was
Sounds like the name of a band.
Yeah, it does.
It's a good title.
Oh my god. So QED tomorrow. Is there anything you guys want to add before we go?
No, I think we covered it. I mean, I covered it.
I'm in mourning for the fact that this is our
We're
last
almost
Hap
done.
and Leonard episode coming up.
That's right. We're almost done.
Are you glad I made you start watching it?
Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic.
I do feel there's one other thing that's missing from this entire season here. Though we get some of it in flashbacks, Florida's perspective of things.
Yeah, because she goes missing so early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only way they can do it. And they do a good job of it. But she has to stay missing for obvious reasons. The mystery has to deepen.
Missing that, the experience of missing that you're having is intentional because it really puts you in the mindset of
Hap and Leonard.
Yeah.
And even Leonard.
You're missing it.
Yeah.
Boy, they sure are.
Yeah, they really, that's the thing. They're trying to, okay, what really happened here? And they're the only ones trying to figure it out too. And that's the thing. That's the one thing they've done a really great job at. It's a great mystery for this season mixed with the ghost story. It's very Dark Shadows.
I cannot encourage both you guys and both of the viewers to go out and read these things enough. You really the adventures continue.
Yeah. I might buy a novel.
Paperback.
There
right?
are short stories online to download for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of stories, link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Book Unbound is going to be in the description box. Go pick it up if you haven't already. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel, Collins Port After Dark, is going to be in the description box. Go give him a subscription. Really, really informative. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for QED. Be safe.
QED.